I argued with my professor that an individual's economic and geographical position within a country is a far more determining factor than race in who they'll vote for and what they'll politically identify as. My argument can be boiled down to this. A rich black person has more commonly held political interests with a rich white person than black people in general, and vice versa. The only exceptions I could find are when there's widespread political propaganda within a country. There are indeed issues and interests that transcend the superficial aspects of race. They transcend the rigid identities that almost always box people into a particular ideology. And any person who suggests that because you are blank, you should also be blank is boxing you into their own particular ideology. And today, the leftists, and the liberal media and the liberal academia does it to the extreme with race-based politics. Nazism boxed in German whites the same way liberals box in African Americans in the United States. That is to say, Nazis and liberals tell to people that if you're not part of our party, our movement, and our ideas, you're less of the race you happen to be. You're somehow the enemy's supporter. This, of course, isn't true. In the marketplace of free ideas, there are black conservatives in the same way there are, unfortunately, black socialists and black communists. This seems so obvious, and it is obvious, but sadly, too many people on the left insist that their beliefs are the cornerstone of an entire race's ideas and beliefs, when that's just not the case. It's not true. How do I know this? Look at the statistics. Democrats heavily support abortion rights and gun restrictions. African Americans, on average, though, heavily support restrictions on abortions and tend to not support anti-gun restrictions. In addition, although the Democrats want you to believe that Hispanics universally support them, in the most recent election, 30% of the Hispanic vote went to Trump. More so, rural and blue-collar voters, African Americans and Hispanic voters, tended to vote for Trump instead of Clinton this time around. This was especially true in the red states and in the Midwest. In Canada, the Ontario government, controlled by the Kathleen Wynne Liberals, would have you believe that the recent sex ed curriculum that would introduce concepts like gender fluidity to children is supported by the minority communities, which is not true. It's just not the case. It's only supported largely by liberal whites. And on average, most Chinese, Arab, and African minority communities within Ontario disagrees with the recent sex ed curriculum they're pushing. Go to any anti-sex ed march and you'll see the majority of people in the anti-sex ed marches are non-white, but the liberals don't want you to know that. The links to the info are all in the description below, by the way. As you could clearly see, I'm about as black as a paved road. The left in the Western world would look at me and say, because you're black, you should think like X and Y, and if you don't think like X and Y, you're a house nigger or a coon. In reality, it's true that some legislations, particularly those in the past, disproportionately affected me. However, more so than a black person, I am an individual. You are an individual. And our social, economic, and political opinions should not be hinged or dependent merely on our race, like the left would have you believe. We are all individuals. So why does the left continue to do this? Well, they do it for votes. And they do it because they need supporters, of course. And as long as there's an economic reason to race bait in politics, people will still continue to do this. Well, this reporter thinks it should end. All race-based politics does is ruin genuine discussion and political discourse. I'm Jay Feza from the Rebel.media. If you're sick of race baiting and race-based politics, please like and subscribe to the Rebel.media.